Now, I've gone by the Metallica Guru channel for quite some time back then when I actually had it. It was one of my main priorities of the channel that I used at the time, but being as which I barely even use anymore, and I decided to change it up because I wanted to actually have my own different kind of username rather than sticking to that one. I still love the channel. I still love the username, so I'm still sticking by that channel for any uploads that I want to just put up there, just for, good old time's sake. But, most of you know me as the thrash metal guru nowadays, just so I can change that up. But past that point here, I have been a Metallica fan ever since when I was 6 years old, and all the way up to this day at age 21, fixing to be age 22, being that my birthday is on September 17th. As a Metallica fan, actually as one of the biggest Metallica fans in the whole wide world, I have actually been so dedicated, so loyal, and so, how would I best describe this? It would be more of, I've been a part of Metallica history. I've actually enjoyed a lot of Metallica songs. I've enjoyed everything that Metallica has given me from this point. And I'm not trying to say to people that I'm blindly following a band because such and such, and because someone dislikes it or likes it or whatever it is. It's never been the case. I actually loved Metallica ever since, and still do to this day, and I probably will until the day I die. But I wanted to actually get into something real quick, or actually not really quick, but I wanted to get something to kind of discuss a little bit something that has been on my mind, and I've never quite shared it. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, because I am in no way a metal elitist. I am not this, this militant type of person who listens to thrash metal and metal a lot, being that metal is one of my favorite genres of music to ever listen to compared to any others. But that does not mean that, you can only listen to that specific genre, because if you listen to anything else, you would be kind of labeled throughout the metal community as it's such. I don't know why I say community, but I would just like to say on that point of, metal heads or something like. I'm not going to really go with the whole label kind of system there, but I just wanted to say, I can enjoy grunge, I can enjoy a little bit of some indie music, I could even enjoy some soundtrack music. Hell, Charlie Brown, for God's sakes. I actually listen to Charlie Brown music, that's pretty good. Hell, I even listen to classical music. But that's not really the case in point to the subject of this. The subject that I actually just wanted to talk about was actually regarding a single song that was actually released by Metallica on iTunes called The Lords of Summer. Being that this was their single release track, they actually released The Lords of Summer on iTunes. I actually got to listening to it, and I actually listened to it first on YouTube, just believing that it was actually just going to be on YouTube, and it wasn't available just yet, because I didn't really hear that the song was released. But after hearing it, I thought to myself for a second, like, okay, it's probably going to be the same thing, even though it says like it was like the first pass version or VIP pass version, but after listening to it a little bit more, but because the instruments still sounded the same, but I didn't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't really have, extreme high standards, because, my standards, I listen to a variety. I listen to a variety of, fast, mainstream, and even sometimes, even a little bit off, but point in case of matter is, when I was actually listening to it, the instruments going off, and then right to the very point when I heard James actually singing to that point, a whole lot different from the demo version, that is where I was just completely blown away. Completely blown away in a very, very good, adrenaline, just motivated kind of way. After listening to it, I was just, wow. I was amazed. I was ecstatic. I was just shocked and, shocked and awed. I was having fun with it. I was actually having a thrill listening to the song. So, just with curiosity, I go over to iTunes, and I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to see if this song is actually available on iTunes, and which it is. So I go on to there, I actually go on, and then I noticed that, it was the exact same song as the one that I actually witnessed that was on YouTube as the First Pass Edition. I think that's what they call it, the First Pass Edition. And then when I actually had it downloaded, I actually had the song on there, and I was real thrilled to have it, because I'm one of the biggest Metallica fans in the world, and, I actually had to have the song, so I decided to buy it. But what struck me as odd is when I looked at the reviews looked a little bit more down than any others, kind of compared to like Saint Anger to most people, because they would judge that because it's not really an album that suits their needs, because it sounds a whole lot different, granted enough, but reason believe enough that behind Saint Anger was a whole lot of issues depending on why the album was not as successful as any other albums to begin with, and I will actually get to that here in a minute just to refresh everyone's memory. But when I looked at the reviews of this, I noticed a whole lot of people, and bear in mind, and please take note of this, that I'm not saying in any way, I'm not forcing my opinion down anyone's throat, And keep in mind, I'm not a metal elitist when I say this, but when I saw on the reviews, though, that it was marked down to 2, 3, 1, you know, I scratched my head there for a minute. It's like, really? Fucking really? And one example of this, I read on the views, someone saying, you know, Metallica needs to, you know, just hang up their instruments, and that they need to just listen to their own recordings, and they realized how sucky they were. And some people were bitching that it wasn't Kill 'Em All or Master of Puppets, and that it just sounds new. It's just too new. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. What do you think life itself is partly about too? Change is also a part of life. You may not like it, you may like it. Change is going to come whether you know it or not, or whether you accept it or not. Okay? It's one of the natural things in life that we actually have, and there's no stopping it. I mean, hell, change is what makes the music very much interesting to listen to, and it really kind of opens you up a little bit more, and to realize, hey, you know what, this band's still around. They're actually still kicking it. They're still going. After all these years, after all these hardships, after all these obstacles, and after some friends or family they have maybe lost during that time, and I'm not trying to play any sympathy card, but I'm just saying through all that time, they're still going, they're still playing, and they're still actually making music. I gotta stop saying the word actually, because that's really getting annoying, and I'm noticing that throughout my videos. But just to realize enough, fans themselves, other fans, because I'm going to try to separate myself from fans, I just feel like these fans are just sticking their standards of what they feel Metallica should be doing. Like, they're the boss. Like, the fans feel like they're the boss, and they don't want Metallica making these types of music, and they want it to be just like what they see. Now, let me be clear, though. Let me be 100% clear to this, that I do not care what you think about what I'm saying, but here it comes. Being that Metallica really does not give a shit about what people think of them, on the side of this note, though, I really think that the other types of fans of Metallica really need to kind of just, I don't know, fuck off. Really, the point in case in this is that it's not like Metallica is working behind, you know, a counter in a fast food restaurant, and they're taking orders from people trying to get their food, and if they mess up their order, and then, you know, the fan being the customer would get so pissed off they would come back, bitch at them about it, saying that they need to correct this and that. So let's make that comparison between taking orders of food from a fast food joint and actually having standards for what their music should be. You kind of see a little bit that same mentality to that point, or, you know, just from my point of view. But it's really just not fair in that case in the matter. So what I'm just saying is that it's not... I just really think that we need to quit pushing so much. We expect too much from a band that has actually made good music. From Kill 'Em all the way to Death Magnetic. And apart from Death Magnetic, what people are bitching about from Saint Anger, they were bitching about how Saint Anger was just so much bad, and then they complained that it sounds too loud or something in Death Magnetic. I just can't understand the mentality or what people want. I guess that's human nature. We're never satisfied. That's basically... Now, I'm not going to say basically. That is just going to be the immaculate point, the perfect point that people cannot be satisfied. And I know that's a very, very selfish point of me to be making, but... just as the point stands, as human nature, we're never satisfied by what we want. You know, it has to be our way, it can't be their way. I'm just saying, as fans, it has to be their way, and to the band, it can't be that way. That's completely bullshit. Now, here's my opinion on Lords of Summer. It's fucking cool, it's fucking fantastic, it's fucking amazing, and it's fucking so much good to listen to, it's so much adrenaline-packed. I just believe it's underrated. That's just what I believe. So before I actually get on to that, I want to discuss a little bit more about the Saint Anger issue like I promised. If some of you already know, then you probably know what I'm going to be saying. So for those who do not know, the reason behind Saint Anger's issues is that apart from these other points around, you had Lars Ulrich who actually sued Napster and got granted a loan. This was years ago, and I think a lot of people on both sides had the right to be upset and also not had the right to be upset. I'm saying in both ways because there are tremendous points that kind of equalize that out. But apart from Jason Newsted leaving the band at that time, James Hetfield dealing with alcohol problems, and also to the point just trying to also be a father and being a husband as well to that point, and Kirk Hammett, you know, Robert who comes in later, Robert Trujillo, Lars Ulrich who's trying to keep everything balanced out, Kirk Hammett dealing with all this, and then we actually have a little bit point of actually Not actually. Let's just say we have a point where in case where Lars had to actually deal with some issues between him and Dave Mustaine at that time. And there's a whole lot more I can go on with, but I don't actually have all the time in the world to go through that. So I'm just going to keep this going here, but, make this as short as possible. I don't even need to mention these other types of events from back then, such as, I don't know, Lars Ulrich suing Napster, which no one would let that go because no one can, seem to just know when to let go of that certain event. Or James Hetfield narrating some sort of bear hunting thing, which a whole lot of people get extremely effing butthurt about something because he's narrating something that was on there, which he put up his hunting rifle about, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago when it came to the Black Album, or 20 such years, just to that point. And I don't even need to mention anything else because at the end of the day, I just think we as fans, or certain fans, really just need to get our heads out of our own fucking asses, and instead of just bitching, moaning, and complaining how it doesn't come to your standards, give it a fucking chance. Seriously, I think that's the problem with people. They don't give it a chance, and it's so, just because it sounds so different, it has to be hated, it has to be disliked the very instant that it's not really given a chance. Anything to demonize anything over. Now, when we look at Lords of Summer, it does sound, it's thrash, but it sounds new. It sounds kind of like Death Magnetic, and it actually has thrash in it. But come on, ladies and gentlemen. So before I end it off, let me actually get into a few examples about something here. Something that has really been taking off my mentality, not to get off the subject of Metallica. But let's take it along that Metallica's Sad But True song. A lot of people were demonizing Avenged Sevenfold because it sounded so much like Metallica's song. They thought they ripped it off, but when Kid Rock fucking does it, fucking praise for Kid Rock for doing that shit. That's the good fucking logic for you. But when Avenged Sevenfold does it, and I'm a fan of Avenged Sevenfold, by the way, so when anyone has a problem with that, you can go fuck yourself. But when Avenged Sevenfold does something that even it just sounds like it, they get demonized. So I really don't understand the logic between all this and how fans would react. And, apart from Metallica's Lords of Summer, that it doesn't sound the same anymore, and it sounds too fucking new. Who in the fuck fucked someone's mother to have that person come out to begin with? The lucky sperm on that one, and that's the fucking one that won because they're not so satisfied by what they think. They think that because it sounds so different, it has to, just because so much shit. That's just my thought, though. So, really nothing more for me to say. So, right as I ended off, I just wanted to say, before you demonize something or just go off your tirade or baby tantrums about how you think something sucks, give it a chance first. Seriously. As a Metallica fan, I've given everything a chance. And guess what? I'm fucking happy. To some extent, maybe the movie, board games, and all that. That's not my criteria. But as album-wise, to the understanding of reasoning with Saint Anger, as a fan, one of the biggest fans ever, who's not going to ever press my opinion down on you, it's just what I feel. That I gave it a chance, and not once have I felt unsatisfied. I've listened to them since I was 6 years old. I gave it a chance, and there we go. I have not felt unsatisfied at all. And to me, they're still my favorite band in the whole wide world. Two quick things before I go. So, I'm actually going to be uploading a video that I've actually had recorded about maybe over a few weeks ago to a month. I was actually at a show in in the Fremont of Las Vegas, actually witnessing a band called Protest. It was a very cool, death metal kind of band. I'll have to look back into it so I can actually understand more of the genre to it. But a very badass band. They're called Protest, by the way. I will actually have the video uploaded onto my channel. You should check them out. If you have any more information over the band Protest, or you guys are local out to Las Vegas, let me know. I would actually like to get more into that because they're a very cool, badass band. Just like the band that I used to roadie called to be a roadie for, was The Plagued, who were like a hyphy death metal thrash, all that sort of thing. But with Protest 2, this is another band that I also want to check out very much, and it's very awesome. So I will actually have that. I will also provide a link also to Metallica's Lords of Summer for the first pass version of YouTube. It's also going to be down in the description below. I'm not sure though if I can find the link, if there's any sort of way if I can actually link iTunes for their song to be on the description of the video below. So that way you can understand what I'm talking about. You can see the ratings for yourself and see what people have to say, that sort of thing. So now that that's actually put up on the way, I'm just going to say that I'm Jasper Munobo, the thrash metal guru, formerly known as the Metallica guru. Still love the title. To say that this has actually been my rant on the subject of the review of Lords of Summer. If I actually had to rate the song, just to be honest and sure, I would actually give this, out of 5 stars, I would actually give this 4 3/4 of a star, just to say, because, you know, I mean, not everything is perfect, and that's fine, but you know what, like I said, I've never been unsatisfied with the song, and I think it's been good adrenaline, you know, good motivation to keep me pumped up and all that, and there we go. That's my point of view. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and this is coming from one of the biggest fans of Metallica ever. You guys have a wonderful day, alright?